spread either way. Now that presumes,
Except
go
if
ahead.
I could ask, except for the big draw away from the banks is because the Fed is paying 5%. So the banks are
Well,
forced to compete with that. So if the Fed were
yeah.
to bring it down, then it wouldn't be as competitive.
Yeah,
Or
that's absolutely right. So that's why you can't look at this in a vacuum. First of
right,
all, I was going to add that the banks may have mark-to-market losses on their balance sheet, which is what's killing the regional and community banks right now, because they, during all the COVID era, the way the plumbing works is all that money that came from all the fiscal stimulus had to go through the banking system. So the banks suddenly found themselves flush with cash and there was no loan demand. And so what did they do? They bought treasuries. But because treasuries had no capital charge, they rolled the dice and played the yield curve. And this is where the managements made the mistake. They didn't
right.
have to do what they did. They invested in long-term treasuries. Now those long-term treasuries have a big mark-to-market loss. And your point is also very well taken, which is there's something different now that didn't exist back in 1994, the last time we came off a big rate rising environment, but the Fed had engineered a steep yield curve, and that is money market funds. Ding, 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 ding. You can
Yeah.
earn right now north of 5% in a US government money market fund where you're taking US government credit risk, whereas banks are paying little to no interest and you're taking bank credit risk. A lot of money is walking with its feet. In fact, actually, at one point, there was an estimate that 850 billion of deposits had exited the traditional banks for the crypto industry back at the peak of the crypto craze.
Hmm.
And now we're almost at that amount of money that's been withdrawn from the banking industry to go to the money market funds. It's really stunning how much money has moved from the banking industry, and traditional banks were just not ready for this.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. So obviously, one, the risk that you said, bank risk versus government risk. So there's the
Yep.
risk that they're dealing with, and so that has people on edge. And then there's the carrot dangling, where like, hey, I can go make 5% instead of the 2%, or I'm sorry, the 0.25%.
Or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah,
And
whatever
I've
it
got
is.
counterparty credit risk, right? So if you adjust that for the counterparty credit risk, it's
Right.
negative yield. Yeah.
Which why I was thinking. So if inflation